Hi, I'm Linda Forrest. I volunteer at the community center, and in the past, another woman, Sue Butts, and I have started seedlings for the plant sale at the community center. Today, I'm going to show you how you can start some tomato plants at home. All you need is a cardboard egg carton. And cardboard works better because the shell would be water soluble. First, you would cut off the flap with the top, and the flap, that's the outside edge, and then you would cut each little cup out like this so that you have cups like that. And since you have little cutouts like that, you need to put a piece of duct tape around it so that you have a cup like this. Then you want to take a label, write the name of your tomato variety on the label, and stick it on your duct tape. You simply take some potting soil that is usually dry, and you add a little bit of water to it, hot water, and then it'll be kind of moist, and you fill your seedling, or your seedling cup. Then you take your tomato seeds, pour them in a saucer. I'm using part of a milk carton. Take a tweezer, grab your tomato seed, and put it in the middle of your seeding soil. Now, tomatoes need to be covered. Not all seeds need to be covered, but tomatoes do. So I use vermiculite, coarse vermiculite, and I cover it. Once it's covered, you take a spray bottle of water and spray your seedlings. Now, when I start tomato seedlings, I start them in cells like this. You can see there are two different types. One's deeper than the other. I use the deep ones, and they're about the same depth as an egg carton. Once they get to be tall enough to have two main leaves, not cotyledon leaves, but two growth leaves, then I transplant them into these pots, which are called 18s, because you fit 18 of them into a tray like this. Now, Menards carries these trays, and they're really nice because you can fit your seedlings in your cells into a tray. I use a dome like this to cover the tray and increase the moisture, the humidity in the tray. However, at home, you can use a plastic bag, and once you take your seedling cup and put it in an egg carton, I'll use this egg carton, you'd have to cut off the edge. But you can stick the bag on top of your egg cartons and make sure it's a little bit poofy so that the plastic isn't sitting right on the soil, and then stick it on your counter. And most people think they can grow seedlings under the or on the windowsill. However, whites grow the best seedlings. When you put them on the windowsill, there's not enough light. and your seedlings get very tall and leggy. So I use something like this. This has 2 lights in it. And I will stick my tray underneath there and leave just about an inch between the bottom of the lights and the top of the tray. If you're using a 4-foot bulb, you can use warm and cool bulbs. And when you buy bulbs, they have this little graph on the edge. One part says cool and the other part says warm tone. So you want to get one bulb that says cool tone and one bulb that says warm tone. And that way you have a full spectrum light. And that's just like using a grow lamp. Once your seedling is grown, you would take it out of your cup and you would remove it from your cup by scooping it out and sticking it into a pot like this. You can grow tomatoes in cups like this, but you can see the difference in the height. Tomatoes need lots of room to grow. They need deep roots. So when I grow my seedlings like this, I transplant them into pots like this. You can use any old pot that you have at home. Old 3-inch pots or 2-inch pots, just longer, deeper than this egg carton. You would use regular potting soil and stick your seedling all the way to the bottom and then fill in potting soil around it and then water it. And then you can let your tomato grow from there. By setting your seedling to the very bottom of the pot, you're letting the roots grow around the stem. That way you're just leaving a little bit of the leaves showing above the surface of the soil, and you'll have a nice strong seedling. And it won't be very leggy, because tomatoes tend to grow tall and leggy anyway, even when they're under lights. I grow probably 50 seedlings, because I grow them for the raised beds and I grow them for myself, and I love tomatoes. So if you start your tomatoes right now, you should be able to have enough time to grow tomatoes for your garden this summer. Now, tomatoes come in different lengths. This is a beefsteak tomato, and it's what's called an indeterminate tomato, which means it grows tall, and it produces tomatoes all through the season. There's also smaller tomatoes, which are called determinate tomatoes, like Romas, which are determinate or semi-determinate, and whole bigs or defiant. It'll say on your variety whether they're determinate or indeterminate. Determinate tomatoes supposedly produce their tomatoes all at once, and they only grow 3 feet tall. So if you want to grow a tomato in a pot, you want to grow a determinate tomato. Nurseries do sell determinate tomatoes if you don't want to start your own tomatoes. When you're buying seeds, though, look for determinate tomatoes if you want to grow it in a pot. An indeterminate tomato is just too big to grow in a pot, even a pot that's 2 feet wide and 18 inches deep. It's just too big of a plant to grow in that big of a pot. A determinate tomato needs to be in that big of a pot. So an indeterminate tomato you can put into a pot as long as it's about 3 feet in diameter and about 1.5 feet, 2 feet deep. Basically, starting seedlings is easy to do. You just have to plant plant your seed in seeding soil and cover it up with some vermiculite and keep it watered. But the most important part is to make sure it's under the lights and make sure the lights are close to the top of the seedlings. If they're too far away, your seedlings will grow tall and leggy, and the stems will be very brittle, and they'll tend to flop over, and they won't be a good, strong tomato. I hope that's enough for today, and I hope you'll all find that seeding is as enjoyable as I find it. Thank you.